Now, one of Chile's many dark secrets during the regime of Augusto Pinochet was the stealing and selling of babies to adoption agencies. Now, one of those babies was Scott Lieberman, an American living in San Francisco. Thanks to DNA testing, he discovered he had a half-sister living in Chile whom he recently met for the very first time. CNN's Rafael Romo has their story.
She doesn't speak English.
Fue una alegría inmensa.
And his Spanish is basic.
Sí, sí, todo está bien. Siempre, todo está bien.
Just a few weeks ago, they were perfect strangers, but now they hug as if they have known each other their entire lives. What brought them together was a DNA test that proved Scott Lieberman, an American, and Jenny Escalona Mardones from Chile are half-siblings.
She's my half-sister.
Lieberman says it was at that moment he knew he had to travel to Chile. When he arrived in Concepcion, they shared a hug that had to wait 42 years.
Very good. Like almost all my family's here. It's incredible. Just so much love.
Scott Lieberman says he always knew that he was adopted from Chile. What he did not know was the whole truth about how the adoption happened. A few months ago, he found out that in the 70s and 80s, there had been many cases of babies stolen in Chile and sold to adoption agencies, and began to wonder if the same thing had happened to him.
I didn't know what happened. I lived 42 years of my life without knowing that I was stolen, knowing what was happening down in Chile during the 70s and 80s. And I want people to know, people need to know. There are families out there that can still be reunited.
During the last decade, CNN has documented multiple cases of babies who were stolen at birth in Chile. During the dictatorship of General Augusto Pinochet, babies were funneled to adoption agencies, some from upper classes, taken or given up to protect reputations, and some from lower classes where children were simply stolen. Chilean authorities say many priests, nuns, doctors, nurses, and others conspired to carry out illegal adoptions. Authorities told us the number of stolen babies could be in the thousands, but the investigation into the adoptions has languished over the years. Scott Lieberman is one of the lucky few. With the help of Nos Buscamos, a Chilean organization dedicated to reuniting families and the support of MyHeritage, an online DNA company, he was able to find his half-sister in Chile and prove they were related.
Nunca supe que tenía otro hermano.
Jenny Escalona Mardones learned the truth when she got a call from a volunteer at Nos Buscamos.
Eso para mí fue...
That was very shocking for me. It was something I can't describe. An emotion, a feeling that is yet to sink in.
They recently visited the tomb of Rosa Esther Mardones, their mother, who died of bone cancer in 2015. The 58-year-old died not knowing her son was still alive and would return home to Chile less than a decade later.
Nunca.
Never ever did my mother talk about the fact that she had a child and that it had been stolen. It was the painful truth that she kept to herself for many years. I even think that her pain took her away.
After spending a few unforgettable days with this Chilean family, Scott Lieberman returned home to San Francisco. But he's already planning to return to the country of his birth in August to celebrate his birthday. The half-siblings have made each other a promise. Let's make up for lost time. Rafael Romo, CNN Atlanta.